The Big Bang Theory universe can no longer do a young Penny spinoff because Kaley Cuoco has already done something similar. Unlike the usual reason for cancellations, CBS ended The Big Bang Theory not because of the lack of interest from the public. Instead, it wrapped up its run because Jim Parsons decided to leave the show as Sheldon Cooper. Luckily, Chuck Lorre and the rest of the team found a way to continue capitalizing on The Big Bang Theory's popularity with young Sheldon, which tackled Sheldon's childhood in Texas before moving to California. After The Big Bang Theory's finale in 2019, the franchise thrived for 5 more years with young Sheldon. What started as supplementary viewing for the nerd-centric sitcom ended up being a hit show on its own, as Sheldon and the rest of the family immediately became fan favorites. The prequel differentiated itself from its parent series by being a more grounded family dramedy. Young Sheldon proved to be a success that CBS essentially copied its format for NCIS first period offshoot, NCIS Origins. With the show now done, there is interest in other Pasadena gang members getting the same treatment, including Penny. All members of the Pasadena gang had their respective fan base. That said, it's fair to say that the Big Bang Theory's main trio, Sheldon, Leonard, and Penny, are all a bit higher in terms of popularity hierarchy than the rest of the ensemble. Jim Parsons' Sheldon already had his childhood tackled in young Sheldon, while Johnny Galecki doing young Leonard is more difficult, considering the actor's semi-retirement from Hollywood. That leaves Kaley Cuoco's Penny to spearhead a new prequel as the next best option. That said, it may not be as interesting as initially perceived. One overlooked aspect of this matter is how Cuoco already did a version of young Penny in 8 Simple Rules. The ABC Family sitcom featured the actor playing Bridget Aaron, Beach Hennessy, who was essentially a young version of the Big Bang Theory's main female character. Like Penny, Pauline Kate Hennessy's eldest was fun-loving, ditzy, and the stereotypical representation of blondes in Hollywood. She was more focused on dating and her looks than anything else. And that was the initial idea for Penny when she debuted in The Big Bang Theory. 8 Simple Rules showing all of this makes the idea of a young Penny less interesting as the next The Big Bang Theory spin-off. Interestingly, what's known about Penny's backstory fits with Beach's story in 8 Simple Rules. While the nerd-centric sitcom didn't always tackle the life that Leonard's wife had before she moved to Pasadena, there were several references to it. Occasionally, there were even brief flashback sequences, including when she sat in her bedroom taking a pregnancy test with her partner at that time. 8 Simple Rules showing all of this makes the idea of a young Penny less interesting as the next The Big Bang Theory spin-off. Aside from The Big Bang Theory's Penny and 8 Simple Rules each having similar traits, there's another connection between the sitcoms. In both sitcoms, Katey Sagal plays the mother of Cuoco's characters. In 8 Simple Rules, Sagal portrayed Kate opposite John Ritter's Hennessy patriarch, Paul. Several years later, she returned to the small screen to play Penny's mom, Susan. Unlike in 8 Simple Rules, where she was a main cast member, Sagal had limited involvement in The Big Bang Theory. She only debuted in Season 10, Episode 1, The Conjugal Conjecture, and that ended up being her only appearance. Between Penny and Beach's similarities and Sagal's involvement in both The Big Bang Theory and 8 Simple Rules as Cuoco's character's mom, young Penny is no longer a strong contender for Lorre's next expansion series in the universe. While The Big Bang Theory featured various references to Sheldon's childhood in Texas, the public had never seen what his life may have actually been like in Medford before he transferred to California. Add to that his and Mary's complicated relationship with George and his subsequent death, and young Sheldon became such an interesting premise for a prequel. The Big Bang Theory isn't also warranted for the character. As divisive as Penny's pregnancy arc was, the nerd-centric sitcom was still able to leave her and Leonard in a happy place, both excited about the arrival of their first child. Admittedly, The Big Bang Theory Season 13 would have fixed the plot, but mainly because it would have given the show enough time to tackle Cuoco's character, changing her stance about having children. Doing a The Big Bang Theory show about Penny's life without her Pasadena gang friends would just be odd. Aside from that, doing a The Big Bang Theory sequel series centered on Penny would be difficult to pull off without the rest of the old show's cast. Per the Young Sheldon finale, Sheldon and Amy are still friends with her, which means that they must still regularly hang out with her. Doing a The Big Bang Theory show about Penny's life without her Pasadena gang friends would just be odd. Even if she moves out of California, the Penny offshoot would require heavy involvement from Galetsky's Leonard, which would be more improbable, considering the actor's semi-retirement. After the Young Sheldon finale, the franchise is thriving with Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. That said, Lore is also doing a proper The Big Bang Theory spin-off with Stuart, Denise, and Bert. The show is set to stream on Max, at least based on its current status. While there is no indication that the producer extraordinaire is trying to get a young Penny off the ground, Cuoco recently revealed that she is always open to the possibility of reprising her The Big Bang Theory role in any capacity, saying, "At this point, the Stewart-led The Big Bang Theory spin-off is the best chance for Penny to appear on the screen again after the end of the flagship series." Even though Cuoco is open to playing the character on a regular basis, and all the storytelling aspects of the potential projects are sorted out, the actor's roster is currently full, with a brand new sitcom on HBO in development. Because of that, if she and Lore really want to do a Penny-focused spin-off, it may not happen for several more years. The Big Bang Theory introduced audiences to a quirky group of scientists and their equally fascinating neighbor, Penny. As the show grew in popularity, fans became enamored with Penny's charm, her Midwestern roots, and her down-to-earth personality. While the show's genius lies in its ensemble cast, many wondered what a deeper exploration of Penny's past might look like. Could The Big Bang Theory's beloved Penny have a spin-off akin to Young Sheldon? While the idea might sound intriguing, it turns out we've already seen Young Penny 22 years ago. Kaley Cuoco brought a version of her future iconic character to life in the early 2000s with her role in 8 Simple Rules. This show, though different in premise, showcased a teenage Kaley Cuoco in ways that make a Young Penny spinoff feel almost redundant. Let's dive into why 8 Simple Rules was essentially our Young Penny, and why Penny's backstory doesn't need to be retold.